Hello and welcome back. My name is Saunders and I'm the host of this YouTube series titled The Power of Knowing How Life Works. And I'm glad you joined us. Today we're going to talk about the third question of life. And obviously if it's the third, there must be others. So let me just review, just in case you are new, what the four questions are. Then we'll talk about, just very briefly, what the four problems that the questions will address. And then we're going to get right into the third question today. And that question, of course, is what is your purpose in life? So let me start. How does life work? That's the first question you should be asking yourself. The second one is, what's the purpose for humanity? The third question is, what is your purpose in life? And the fourth question is, what happens when we die? And if you answer those four questions correctly, you will be setting yourself in a position where you can understand the four major problems that exist in the world we live in: politics, religion, money, and sex. And the reality is that if you understand the four questions and you answer them correctly throughout your life, then you'll be able to relate to the problems and say, yes, that's why we have that problem. Now, let's get to it. How do you know what your purpose in life is? That's usually the first question people say. Well, how do you know what your purpose is? I will just tell you, without any hesitation, that you will know when it arrives, because it will be so solid that that's all you focus on your entire existence, as to how to do that. Now, you still have to make a living. You still have to live your life, go through all the daily problems that we're going to be talking about, and eventually answering the questions that you're going to ask yourself throughout your lifetime. But the reality is that when it comes to you, when you know what your purpose is, you're going to smile and you're going to say, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, why is all of that significant? And here it is. The reality is this: you have come through as an essence particle, you've come through your mother, you sat in water for 9 months, then you were delivered, and here you are. Now, the first formative years, as they talk about, say like 1 through 14, they basically will give you the base for what you're supposed to learn. But then you start to take over. You start to have your own thought process. You start to have your own beliefs. And as you go through that, you are building from all of the frequencies, don't let me scare you with that word, but all of the frequencies around you are coming to you so that you build your individual reality. So your individual reality is reflected on your purpose for life. So once you start to grasp the fact that you and only you get to create your personal reality, you're also going to understand you get to create your purpose in life. So put this all together now, folks. I mean, this is powerful stuff. If you have problems in your life, if you're going through a divorce, or if you're having troubles in school, or if you're having troubles at work, you are creating the environment that you live in simply through the frequencies that you are projecting. So I'm going to ask you, without being a motivational speaker or a life coach, I'm just going to ask you to just be aware of how this all works. Because once you're aware, that's the missing piece of the humanity puzzle. And by being aware, I'm just explaining to you, just learn from all of your sources. You don't need to just listen to the knowledge which I'm sharing with you, but get all of your sources, the YouTube videos that are out there these days, the books that are out there, the self-help programs. Gather all of that information. If you're interested in what your purpose in life is, then use the sources and the resources that are available to you. And you have to do that. I can't provide for you your purpose in life, and you know that. The reality is you have to build your own reality and have your own purpose in life. And I know I've repeated that 2 or 3 times, but I'm doing it so that you listen carefully. Don't sit back and blame somebody else for the way your life has turned out. Focus on what you want, and that's the hard part. I've asked many friends over many years, do you have a purpose in life? And their response is usually the same. Nah, I never really thought about it. I just was born, and I'll someday die, and everything that happens in between had no meaning. You couldn't be farther from the truth. Now, if you're of an older age and you haven't figured out your purpose in life, don't despair. You still have plenty of time while you're living on this planet to figure out what the reason was that you learned all of those lessons, and you put them together, and you'll at least have your answer on what your purpose of life was, so that you can continue on once you die, focusing on the other things, the other learnings that you'll find in different dimensions. I know it gets a little complex. I'll get into all of this later on. But let's go back to the main video that we're shooting today. What is your purpose in life? So I did not give you the answer to what your particular purpose was. What I was trying to do is provide for you that you and only you have to create that purpose. And only you can develop that by knowing exactly what the frequencies are that surround you. If you're in a job that you don't like, and you go home every night saying, oh, I wish I could leave that job. Or if you're in a relationship with somebody and you just aren't aligned anymore, your frequencies are out of alignment. Or if you're living in a world where you turn the news on and all of a sudden people are telling you, we've got a war going on, or people are leaving their religions, or people are fighting in the streets, or we have homeless people. If you're watching all of that, you're absorbing all of that. So all of those frequencies from those news media clips, they're coming to you. And that's the reality that you are creating in your life. And what's your purpose in life? All right, I'm going to share with you a powerful, powerful purpose to at least focus on. You should feel that the world has the possibility to come together, to unite together. Religions should stop fighting each other and just learn to accept each religion. Let everybody live their own lives, and you stay in your life, and you focus on your reality, and you focus on your purpose. And don't be led down the wrong path by some misdirected leaders that have learned how to use this to their advantage. Because we've got 8 billion people all living a day-to-day life right now, and with no total focus on what their purpose is. We'll talk about this deeper as we progress. And the reality is that this is good enough for today. I've given you enough information. I'm Don Saunders. I'm going to ask that you join me in future videos as we discuss the power of knowing how life works.